Hello and very welcome everyone to this session of the Modern History Previous Year Questions Part 6. In today's session, we are going to discuss some of the questions related to the modern history, as we were discussing some of the questions, and now we are going to discuss some other topics related to modern history. And let's start our session and let's see what are the topics we are going to cover. So let's start. So these are the topics I got covered for you. So I've got the revolt of 1857. Before we start, the images used in our slide deck are for educational purpose only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this deck and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathee@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images. So first question that we have, in which year was Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi killed in battle? So basically the years are 1835, 1885, 1858, 1853. If you use a little bit of common sense, then this question can be done without any hindrance. So try to find out the answer, guys. And I guess you have figured it out, because the answer of this question is 1858. So Rani Lakshmibai from 1853 to 1858 bravely protected Jhansi for 7 days. She fought against the British bravely with her small armed forces. Rani Lakshmibai died on 18 June 1858. The devotion of the Queen towards the motherland awakened the spirit of freedom among thousands of people. So do remember that 1858 was the year in which she died while fighting against the Britishers. So she fight while protecting Jhansi, and later while protecting Gwalior, and she died in the Battle of Bitur in 1858. So remember her name. Her real name was Manikarnika. In which year were the powers of East India Company passed to the British Crown by the British Parliament? Very important question this is. So try to find out the answer. Options are 1858, 1859, 1862, 1857. So just answer this, guys. And I guess the answer you are giving is right, because the answer is 1858. So 2nd of August 1858, less than a month after Canning proclaimed the victory of British arms, Parliament passed the Government of India Act, transferring British power over India from the East India Company, whose inaptitude was primarily blamed for the mutiny to the crown. So basically this was a transfer of power, as the East India Company was the one who established the empire starting from the Battle of Plassey 1757, and till 1857 they have established the whole things, and it has already been proclaimed by the British Parliament, because every particular charter act that was coming, they are particularly transferring some of the powers one by one from the hands of East India Company to the British Empire. So basically this was already written, but the final stamp was done on 2nd of August 1858, less than a month after Canning proclaimed the Viceroy of the British arms. So do remember it was done in 1858, and later on the Queen of Britain also became the Empress of India, and she was Queen Victoria. Who among the following was the Mughal emperor when soldiers of the Bengal army mutinied in Meerut on 10th May 1857? Options are Bahadur Shah Zafar, Siraj-ud-Daulah, Sadat Ali Khan, or Burhan Mulk. So try to find out the answer. I guess you have figured it out, because the answer is Bahadur Shah Zafar. So the Mughal emperor during the 1857 revolt in India was Bahadur Shah II, or Zafar, who was the 20th and the last Mughal emperor. Zafar died in November 1862 and buried at Yangon, Myanmar. So do remember the name. Name was Bahadur Shah Zafar. On 10th of May 1857, he became the Mughal emperor, and when the soldiers of the Bengal army mutinied. Which of the following began with the revolt of military soldiers at Meerut, soon became widespread and posed a grave challenge to the British rule? Options are Indian Mutiny 1857, Battle of Plassey 1757, Quit India Movement 1942, Battle of Panipat 1761. So try to understand the question and try to find out the answer, guys. So the Indians were suppressed for almost 100 years from starting from 1757, and it is now the water has reached its limit more than above the nose. So basically the mutiny was started, and the answer is Indian Mutiny 1857. The Indian Mutiny, also called the Sepoy Mutiny, the first war of independence, as it was said by Veer Savarkar, widespread but unsuccessful rebellion against British rule in the service of the British East India Company. It is spread to Delhi, Agra, Kanpur, and Lucknow. So the answer of this question is the Indian Mutiny 1857. Who ignited the spark of freedom that led to the revolt of 1857? Options are Subhash Chandra Bose, Jawaharlal Nehru, Mangal Pandey, or Bhagat Singh. Try to find out the answer, guys. And I guess you have your answer because this is a simple question. The answer is Mangal Pandey. So Mangal Pandey, a sepoy of the 34th Bengal Native Infantry, Barakpur, ignited the spark of freedom struggle on March 29, 1857. Basically, he was born in Uttar Pradesh. That is, at that time it was United Province. When he fired at his British adjutant, Lieutenant Bogg, and Sergeant Major James Hewson. The 34th Native Infantry Regiment was disbanded, and Mangal Pandey, who was from Balia, UP, was hanged after this incident. The revolt broke out on May 10th, 1857, in the form of a mutiny of sepoys of the company's army at Meerut. So in Meerut, basically, some of the particular battalions of the Indian sepoys, they revolted and they looted the armory. They killed some of the British soldiers, and after that, particularly, they went to Delhi and declared Bahadur Shah Zafar as the leader of their revolt. After the revolt of 1857, also known as the Indian First War of Independence, Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last Mughal emperor, was exiled too. Very easy and simple question this is. Options are Japan, England, Nepal, and Burma. So try to think about it. So basically, whenever the Britishers wanted someone to be exiled from India, they have particularly this thing that they particularly send them either to Andaman Nicobar, that is the Kalapani, or to Burma. But Kalapani or Andaman Nicobar or the cellular jail was made later on. So basically, at this time, they were sent to Burma. So Bahadur Shah Zafar was sent to Burma in the Indian Mutiny of 1857. British exiled Bahadur Shah Zafar to Rangoon in British-controlled Burma. After convicting him on several charges, Bahadur Shah Zafar was born in 1775, and his father's name was Akbar II. He was considered as the last ruler of Timurid dynasty, the Mughal Empire. So, do you remember the name? The answer is Burma. Tatya Tope was one of the leaders who participated in the Indian Rebellion of. Options are 1857, 1902, 1890, or 1859. So try to think about the question and think about the answer. And I guess the answer you are giving is right because the answer is 1857. So Tatya Tope was a general in Indian revolt of May 1857 and one of its notable leaders. Born as Ramchandra Pandu Ranga Yavalkar to the Marathi Deshast Brahmin family in Yola near Nasik. He was present at Nana Sahib mansion of the British colony in Kanpur. In early November 1857, he had taken command of the rebel forces of the state of Gwalior. So do remember the answer is 1857. During First War of Independence, the 1857 Kanpur region rose to oppose the British rule, where Nana Sahib Palace at Dash served as its headquarters. Options are Bithur, Pokhraya, Bibigarh, or Fatehgarh. Try to think about it. And I guess the answer you are thinking is right. So the answer is Bithur. So during the first freedom struggle in 1857, Nana Sahib began to oppose the British rule from Kanpur region, where the palace at Bithur was used as its headquarters. In the memory of this revolution of 1857, the tourism department renovated the palace of Nana Sahib in Bithur in 2003 to 2004. There are statues of the revolutionaries of 1857. So do remember the answer is Bithur. And basically later on, Jhansi, the Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi, she also fought against the Britishers, firstly from Jhansi and later on from Gwalior. And Tatya Tope was a mutual general in both the fights, first in Kanpur, then in Gwalior. Which of the following was celebrated as the first war of Indian independence? Civil War 1861, Uprising of 1857, Rowlatt Satyagraha 1919, Santhal Revolt 1855 to 1856. The answer is Uprising of 1857 was celebrated as the first war of Indian independence. The revolt began on 10th May 1857 in the form of a mutiny of sepoys of the company army in the garrison town of Meerut. So do remember the answer is Uprising of 1857 and it is termed as the first war of Indian independence, and this name was given by V.D. Savarkar, that is Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, also known as the Veer Savarkar. In 1857, the last ruler of the Mughal Empire, Dash, was overthrown by the British. Options are Bahadur Shah Zafar, Nasiruddin Humayun, Zahiruddin Babur, Jalaluddin Akbar. Very simple question this is, so try to think about it. And I guess the answer you are giving is right because the answer is Bahadur Shah Zafar. So Bahadur Shah Zafar was the last Mughal emperor of India. He was a poet, musician and calligrapher. He figured briefly and reluctantly in the Indian Mutiny of 1857. During the mutiny, rebels from the city of Meerut seized Delhi and compelled Bahadur Shah to accept the nominal leadership of the revolt. He was arrested by the British army after it captured Delhi in September 1857. He was exiled to Burma with his family. And after Bahadur Shah Zafar, the Mughal Empire was ended basically, and all his children were killed by the Britishers, and the British Empire was established as Queen Victoria became the next Empress of India. When was the revolt of 1857 finally suppressed by British? 1859, 1860, 1861, 1857. Try to think about it. And the answer of this question is 1859. So the revolt of 1857 was the first expression of organized resistance against the British East India Company. This revolt of 1857 lasted for more than a year. It was suppressed by the mid of 1858 on 8th of July 1858, the 14 months after the outbreak at Meerut. Peace was finally proclaimed by Lord Canning. Point to be noted is that Tatya Tope, the leader of associated with 1857 rebellion, was captured by the feudatory of Scindia in April 1859 and British hanged him. So do remember when was the revolt of 1857 finally suppressed by British? So it was done in 1859. After this, the Government of India Act that already came in 1858 was enacted. Lord Canning became the first Viceroy of India. Queen of Britain, that was Queen Victoria, she became the Empress of India. And after all this, particularly the British Empire was started in India, and particularly the Mughal Empire ended, and all the different type of regional kings were also particularly ended. What was the sudden cause of the 1857 revolt? Options are Tipu Sultan defeat, boycott of English goods, allotment of land to the rich, cartridges of fats. So try to think about this question, guys. And I guess the answer you are giving is right because the answer is cartridges of fats. So the sudden cause of 1857 revolt was the introduction of the Enfield rifle. It was of the opinion that the cartridges of the Enfield rifle had to be bitten before using it. The cartridges was made of pork and beef's fat, which hurted the emotional sentiments of both Hindus and Muslims. So basically, the Enfield rifles were introduced, and if we talk about the use, these are the modern type of rifles that has to be filled with gunpowder. But the gunpowder has to be particularly packed in a packet, and if we talk about this particular packet, it has to be sealed with a plastic. But as we get to know that the plastic that is particularly being used to seal this packet was economical and to particularly economize the particular thing, they particularly use the cow fat or the pig fat. So do remember the answer is cartridges of fats. The 1857 revolt at Lucknow was led by options are Tatya Tope, Begum Hazrat Mahal, Veer Savarkar or Kunwar Singh. So try to think about this question, guys. And you're right because the answer is Begum Hazrat Mahal. So Begum Hazrat Mahal led the revolt of 1857 in Lucknow. She was also called the Begum of Awadh. Begum Hazrat Mahal seized the control of Lucknow and declared her son as the ruler. She worked with the association of Nana Sahib. The Indian Mutiny of 1857 was the first expression of organized resistance against the British East India Company. In March 1857, the Mangal Pandey, a sepoy in Barakpur, had refused to use the cartridge and attacked his senior officers. So do remember the answer is Begum Hazrat Mahal. So 1857 revolt at Lucknow was led by Begum Hazrat Mahal. India's first struggle of independence started on 10th May 1857 at Bareilly, Lucknow, Meerut or Allahabad. Try to think about this. And I guess the answer you are thinking is right because the answer is Meerut. So on 10th May 1857, the Indian soldiers at the Meerut cantonment in modern UP revolted against the British. The revolt of 1857 was no sudden occurrence and was the culmination of a century-long resistance to British rule. The famous episode of greased cartridges provided a spark for the Indian sepoys. It began in Meerut by Indian troops in the service of the British East India Company. It spread to Delhi, Agra, Kanpur, and Lucknow. So, particularly after the Mangal Pandey was hanged, particularly the Indian Sepoys battalions in the British Army at that time, they started revolting. The first kind of revolt started or mutiny started in Meerut. While being in Meerut, so the native infantries started killing the soldiers of the British army, and also they looted the armory. The very next day, they reached Delhi, and they declared Bahadur Shah Zafar as the leader of their revolt under the regency of Bakht Khan. And all this was done, and it was started from Meerut. Which infantry battalion was involved in the killing of all its white officers in the revolt of 1857? Options are 21st Native Infantry, 41st Native Infantry, 20th Native Infantry, and 1st Native Infantry. Try to think about it. And I guess the answer you are thinking is right because the answer of this question is 41st Native Infantry. So the 41st Native Infantry Battalion was involved in the killing of all white officers in the revolt of 1857. The 41st Infantry was stationed at Sitapur Cantonment when the Indian Mutiny began on 3rd of June 1857 in tandem with the 9th and the 10th Awadh Irregular Infantry. They turned on their officers, looted the treasury, and killed all Europeans who had not yet escaped to Lucknow. So do remember the answer is 41st Native Infantry Battalion was involved in the killing of all white officers in the revolt of 1857. Who was responsible for introducing Enfield rifles that used the greased cartridges which became the immediate reasons of 1857 revolt? Options are Captain Hearsay, Henry Hardinge, Lord William Bentinck, Francis Grant. Now you would be thinking that where is Lord Dalhousie, but try to think about this question because this question is very important and moderate type. Answer is Henry Hardinge. So Henry Hardinge, who was the Governor General of India from 1844 to 1848, attempted to modernize the army's equipment. The Enfield rifles that were introduced initially used the greased cartridges, due to which the Sepoys' mutiny broke out. Muslims had a belief that cartridges was greased with a pig fat, where Hindu believes that the cartridges was made from cow fat. So do remember the answer is Henry Hardinge. He was the one who particularly introduced the new type of weaponry into the Indian system, and later on they were being developed, and later on the kind of a dispute rises at the time of Lord Dalhousie. But remember that the revolt started the time when Lord Canning became the Governor General of India, and he was the last Governor General of India. So do remember the answer is Henry Hardinge. 1857 revolt at Lucknow was led by Veer Savarkar, Begum Hazrat Mahal, Tatya Tope, Kumar Singh. Try to think about it. And I guess the answer you are giving is right because the answer is Begum Hazrat Mahal. So Begum Hazrat Mahal led the revolt of 1857 in Lucknow. The rebellion in Kanpur was led by Nana Sahib, the adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao II. Rani Lakshmibai led the rebellion from Jhansi, and together with Nana Sahib's general Tatya Tope, she marched to Gwalior and captured it. So answer is Begum Hazrat Mahal. Her husband was Wajid Ali Shah, and he was the Nawab of Awadh. Remember one more thing that particularly Wajid Ali Shah, the Nawab of Awadh, his particular state, the Awadh state, was acquired or particularly handed over to British on the basis of misgovernance. Remember that as well. Who said neither first nor national nor war of independence with the context to the Sepoy Mutiny and Revolt of 1857? Veer Savarkar, S.N. Sen, R.C. Majumdar, Jawaharlal Nehru. Try to think about it. And your answer is quite right because the answer is R.C. Majumdar. So the consideration of different historians on 1857 revolt are R.C. Majumdar, neither first nor national nor a war of independence. V.D. Savarkar, the 1857 revolt was a planned national revolt. Ashok Mehta, it was a national revolt. So according to R.C. Majumdar, um, this particular mutiny was simply the Sepoy Mutiny, and this was neither the first nor a national nor a war of independence. So this was said, and V.D. Savarkar was the one who said that it was the first war of independence. In which place did Shah Mal led the revolt in 1857? Badot, Rohtak, Hisar, Bhiwani. Try to think about it. And the answer is Badot. So Shamal was a rebel at the time of Indian Rebellion of 1857. He led the Jats of Badot in rebellion against the East India Company. So there were some particular jamidars and leaders also who revolted against the British Empire and the way of collecting taxes, and they are very unhappy with the way of collection of taxes. That is why they revolt against the Britishers, and the name was Shah Mal. Which Indian sepoy in the British Army played a key part in events immediately preceding the outbreak of the Indian Rebellion of 1857? Mangal Singh, Lokmanya Tilak, Bhagat Singh, or Mangal Pandey? Try to think about it. The answer of this question is Mangal Pandey. So Mangal Pandey was an Indian soldier who played a key part in the events immediately preceding the outbreak of the Indian Rebellion of 1857. He was a sepoy infantryman in the 34th Bengal Native Infantry Regiment of the British East India Company. Mangal Pandey execution took place on 8th of April 1857. So the answer is Mangal Pandey. Remember his name. And after his death, after he was hanged, the revolt started from Meerut on 10th of May 1857, and particularly they declared Bahadur Shah Zafar as their leader. Who among the following helped the British during the Santhal Rebellion and in the 1857 revolt? Tekchand, Moolchand, Tejchand, Maharaja Mehtab Chand. Try to think about it. And the answer is Maharaja Mehtab Chand. So Maharaja Mehtab Chand from 1820 to 1879 helped the British during the Santhal Rebellion and 1857 revolt. He was the Raja of Burdwan. Under Mehtab Chand, the state prospered. So remember the answer, Maharaja Mehtab Chand. Who was the Governor General of India during the Sepoy Mutiny? Very simple question this is. I just really said about this during the earlier questions. Options are Robert Clive, William Bentinck, Warren Hastings, or Lord Canning. And I guess the answer you are giving is right because the answer is Lord Canning. So Sepoy Mutiny was started from Meerut on 10th May 1857. Sepoy of the Bengal Army shot their British officers and marched towards Delhi to restore the aged Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah to power. The immediate cause was the introduction of cartridges lubricated with the fat of cows and pigs, which was a practice offensive to Hindus and Muslims. During the period, Lord Canning was the Governor General of India. The symbol of revolution of 1857 was lotus flower and chapati, and the official historian was S.N. Sen. So do remember the answer is Lord Canning. Dash was prosecuted for leading the rebels to the revolt of 1857 and was exiled to Rangoon, where he died in 1862. Options are Shah Alam, Bahadur Shah Zafar, Shah Alam first, or Akbar Shah second. Try to think about it. So the question was which we discussed earlier also, but the way of asking is different. So don't get confused. The answer is Bahadur Shah Zafar. He had led the revolt of 1857. He had declared the Emperor of India on 12th of May. Later on, he was prosecuted and exiled to Rangoon, where he died in 1862. Bahadur Shah Zafar and his wife Begum Zeenat Mahal were sent to prison in Rangoon in October 1858. So Bahadur Shah Zafar was the last Mughal emperor. After he was exiled, the British Empire was established in India. British Empire replaced the East India Company in India, and particularly they have controlled the whole India under their monarchy. And the Queen of Britain became the Empress of India. That was Queen Victoria. And that's it in this session, guys. I hope you learned a lot of things with me in this session, and we will discuss some more things related to the modern history in the next session in that particular way. So till then, bye bye, take care everyone, and see you soon.